guys, we're gonna do a late night check-in. You could be feeling awakened now. Maybe even spending some time in quiet and meditation and really working through your thoughts. Maybe you were sitting in the sun today, clearing your third eye chakra. Maybe you spending some time in solitude. And perhaps you've been doing some shadow work, working on your inner thoughts, inner child, meeting yourself, having a conversation with yourself, coaching yourself out of the victim mentality, daydreaming, maybe even daydreaming about exploring. What have they been exploring? With friends. Maybe this is friends. Ears listening, maybe your friends. You're talking to your friends about some stuff. Hip hop array, maybe listen to hip hop. Maybe you can't figure some things out. All right, let's get some advice. Spirit, what can the viewer, what did he help figure it out? There we go. How to transmute energy. The bar song came out, so this could be a love reading. You got a lot of hearts here. Bar song, something about music. Yes, coping skills. Maybe you're trying to use music as a coping skill to transmute the energy. Things like writing, reading, going for a walk, stretching. I'm feeling tired. Maybe you're feeling tired. So it's a sleeplessness. And not that I can't sleep either. So sleepy. Yeah. You're sleepy. Maybe you're just up. Personal message from God. Maybe even getting some personal messages from God. Maybe you feel like you're a thug, you know? Hey, Spirit, what can the viewer work on? You got this teacher card. Maybe there's a need to teach something to break these walls down. Look up the story of Jericho in the Bible. If you don't know what the story of Jericho is, just type into YouTube the story of Jericho in the Bible. Maybe Spirit's trying to teach you something. You need to walk around something 7 times. Say a prayer 7 times. Something about doing something 7 times. All right, your Uranus energy. Expect the unexpected. Stirring up the situation by using a life or okay, so you have 8th house energy. This is a life or death issue for you. So it looks like you're in life or death energy, maybe some tower energy, maybe some ego death, because we have the 8th house, which is Scorpio energy. So there's a need to burn down something that's unexpected. Stir up the situation by using as a life or death issue your willpower. So the message you have is stir up your situation by using what, Spirit? What should they use? Using flow for a life as a life or death issue with your willpower. How can they use their willpower? How can they use their willpower? By seeing the bigger picture. And so Aries is coming out. You may have Aries in your chart. Check your birth chart. Check your birth chart and see if your first big 3 are Aries or if you have an Aries placement in there. because that may give you a way to find out like how your ego is showing up, or what you may are the shadow parts of that. So if you look up, let's say you have a Aries moon or Aries rising or Aries sun, like Aries is your sun sign, that means you're born in March or April, or maybe it's in your Uranus. Maybe Aries is there. Find out where Aries is in your placement, and then like look at the light and dark parts aspects of that part of your personality, so you can be like, oh yeah, I do that. I can see what they're talking about. You may have a soulmate. Again, this may be an LGBTQ plus, but this is another confirmation. I feel like whoever I'm talking to, you get a lot of confirmations, because other people's readings don't go like this when I'm doing individual readings. This is definitely a collective reading. So these random confirmations keep coming out. Something about being in their shoes, and maybe you don't want them to choose. Maybe you're thinking about being in their shoes. I'm not sure if I'm gonna post this tonight. Something's telling me to do that. Yeah, deep knowing. I think I'm called to. I'm so tired, and I even look tired on here. I can tell I look tired. Like my face is all like, Maybe you feel tired, cause I feel tired. Look tired. Deep knowing. Deep knowing. So you have angels around you that are giving you determination. They're here protecting you and guiding you as you walk up this ladder of success and determination. You got the 9 card. And you have angels of communication that help you with your communication skills. They're all around you. All you have to do is ask for these things. Like, angels, ancestors, guys, help me with my communication. Help me with my determination. Ask for help. That's it. Ask for tranquility. Genuinely ask for that. May I have tranquility? Bestow that upon me. Start using your words. Bestow that upon me. Give that to me. You have to start using your mouth and being verbal. Angel of soulmates. You have to start calling it in with your mouth. Whoever you are, that communication is coming out. You may not call things in with your mouth. You may do a lot of thinking in your head. That's not necessarily a good thing. See, maybe this is at nighttime. Maybe you're sitting outside, or maybe you were sitting outside doing this message, or maybe even spending time outside at night. Maybe you're outside right now. Disrespect, crash out. So maybe you're thinking about when you're disrespectful and crashing out, and like you're like, wow, I can't believe I acted like that, and it says it wasn't me. Maybe there's a bit of denying your partner's responsibility. This is where you're placing the blame on someone else, and now that's the persecutor role in the drama triangle. Cartman's Karpman, Cartman's drama triangle. When you're in denial, that's the persecutor. The persecutor takes no responsibility at all. They don't. The victim is the blame. They blame the victim, and then they get upset with the rescuer for trying to help. And so this way they stay in power. In control. Hip hop. Maybe you listen to hip hop. Maybe hip hop is a big thing for you. Whoever this is, maybe it's like a big genre for you. Perhaps you've been doing sex magic, mixy time magic. Thinking about them doing some of those times, those intimate times that you're having with yourself. Maybe you're trying to grow, trying to do some chanting affirmations. It's good humming. It says southern humming. Chanting. Yeah, maybe you've been doing some chanting and singing out loud and telling, being verbal with God. This came out in another reading, as you know. I keep getting this doctor card. So again, maybe your person is like some type of healer. They work with doctors, or they are a doctor. Maybe they work in a healthcare field. They work around doctors. Something about doctors. Maybe you work around doctors. Maybe you were thinking about others' thoughts of what other people were thinking. Maybe there's a bit of that. Maybe you both were thinking about, I don't know. These fell out. Children are involved, Krusty Krab. Maybe this person likes SpongeBob. Something like No Chill. There's a need for you to don't stop believing. Maybe you watch their TikTok. Spirit says be yourself. And there's a child that's involved in the situation. All right, Spirit, what does the collective need to know in order to move their life in a more positive direction. What does their higher self want them to know about the situation? How to transmute the energy. As for, you're going to have to speak to the universe. You're going to have to open your mouth and speak out loud to the universe. I'm hearing that somebody's not speaking out loud. Someone's talking to God in their head. They're not speaking. And you're getting dreams too, whoever this is. You've been having dreams. You're having a hard time with encouragement. Maybe you're just trying to encourage yourself. So ask for encouragement. Say out loud, say, Lord, encourage me. And you know what, for me, when I first started having a hard time saying things like these out loud, because it felt pretentious, it felt, performative, I didn't like it. I learned how to get that language through songs. So maybe singing Christian songs or songs that, or not even just Christian songs that will help you get the language out to spirit. So singing to God. Yeah, that'll some happiness. That'll bring you happiness too. So singing out loud, bringing it out loud. And an inspiration too. And it'll help give you inspiration. Because music is inspirational. Music is inspirational. For sure. Alright, I got the stuck card right here on the top. Maybe you're feeling stuck. What else we got? And on the bottom is grief. So maybe you're feeling stuck in grief. Alright. We see how you can transmute it by opening your mouth and asking for those things, okay? What else can the collective do? And then decide. Find an oracle. Maybe you did me. Yeah, keep coming back. Then welcome to the Emotional Woman Clinic. Maybe you were indulging in sexy time. Maybe Spirit says maybe it's time for some celibacy. We have a Ramadan right now, so maybe perhaps practicing that. Some need some internal strength. You're not bossing up. Boss up. I used to get this card a lot, and I used to get frustrated with this boss up card. But it literally is you making a routine and a schedule and sticking to it. That's really what it is. And something about community, maybe celebrating, maybe maybe do have fun. Spirit says, indulge your. I'm burping the fun that you should be having, and I do mean should, because it's coming out here. This came out in indulgence. I'm feeling. If you're bossing up, yes, have fun. But Spirit says, have fun that feeds the inner child. What do you mean by the Spirit? Right, because something wasn't fair. Maybe you didn't get a chance to have a childhood. Maybe you didn't get a chance to laugh and have a great time, right? Be of service. Maybe you had to be of service. Maybe you had to do things for yourself or someone. Or maybe there's a bit of service that had to go on. Tell me more. All eyes were not on you. So you were not the it girl growing up. Nobody was looking at you, or at least you feel like. Angel of past life. Maybe you can feel very old, like you've done this life several times. Somehow you just know that you've done this before. Ask for faith. You're being asked for faith because it's something, and maybe you have a past life connection with this person. And I'm getting 2 confirmations, so I'm getting dings all the whole time we're talking. Confirmation, 2 confirmations. So yeah, they're definitely a past life. So Spirit says have faith. If you had a past life with this person, and this is stories that y'all keep, stand in your power. So stand in your power. Like, this is just like standing up and doing the right thing. What would a hero do, right? So this is where you move out of the Cartman drama triangle and you move into a more empowerment series. So the victim, the persecutor is no longer a persecutor. They're just a person with healthy boundaries. They say, I had a client tonight that's talking to a new person, and the new person she's talking to said she felt uncomfortable because she thought she was trying to make her do something she didn't want to do. So my client said, well, do you think it's fair for me to say I don't want to have a relationship with somebody who is still friends with somebody who they've been intimate with? And so she went on to explain what she meant by that. And she was very clear. She doesn't mean friendships from far, far long ago where you had sexy time one time and you guys have never had sexy time again. You guys don't talk. And, if you see each other in passing, you do. There's nothing particular. But you can still say that you're friends. That's fine. But she was not okay with the person's immediate friend group where they're kind of meeting all the time, where she's had sexy time with 2 or 3 people out of the group, right? And right, past issues. And so my client said she doesn't feel comfortable with that. And so we went over boundaries again. And so the boundaries are rules and limits that you set for yourself, not other people, yourself within relationships. So if you don't feel comfortable with that, like that's your limit, with where you want to share your body, because sexual boundaries refers to emotional, intellectual, and the physical components of sexuality. So if that's something that she doesn't want to do with her body, she's allowed to set the physical limit. And she told the girl, no harm, no foul, if that's okay, that just means that you can continue being friends with those people. I just won't be able to date you, but we can still be friends. The girl didn't like that. But those are considered healthy boundaries because she's not telling her to get rid of her friends. And she's also not making herself be comfortable with something that she doesn't want to be comfortable with. So in this case, she's being a coach. She's creating good boundaries. She's being assertive. She's not persecuting. She's not saying you should do this or you should do that, because that's making the person have to adjust their behavior to make them happy in order to keep them. And if a person has anxious attachment style, they're afraid they're going to lose you, they will start adjusting for you in order to not lose you. Challenges, angel of challenges. And so we have to, in the Karpman, in the drama triangle, when we realize that we're a persecutor, we stop doing that. We just met the boundary. The victim stops becoming a victim, and they begin to see that they're a spirit having a human experience. They can be vulnerable, they can be mad, they can be sad, they can be disappointed, they can be frustrated. It's just a moment. They allow themselves to feel them, and they ask, what can they do about it? And that's where the rescuer comes in. The rescuer is no longer rescuing. The rescuer becomes a coach now. And the coach says, what can you do about it? What part did you play in it? What did you learn? What can you do differently? What stands out from this? What don't you like about this? I asked a person a question one time, and they got so mad at me. I said, what about that bothered you? And boy, they went off on me. I mean, it was bad. And it was a close friend, and it was very awful because I was so confused of what I asked wrong. But what I did wrong was I asked the absolute most perfect question, which is, how can you not victimize yourself? But they were so hell-bent on being a victim. In the drama triangle, people who have high egos, so that'd be my Aries, Sagittarius, Leos. Everyone can do it, by the way, but these people with these high, super high egos, or the cardinal signs too. So just a cardinal sign in general. So that would be the Capricorn, that would be the Aries, Cancer for the water signs. Who is it for the air signs? I'm probably gonna say this multiple times, but and then the air signs, the Libra, that's the cardinal sign. So in the courtroom, the persecutor, if you have your big three in the fire sign, that's that Samuel Jackson energy. That's that you know what I'm saying? They're going in hot and heavy when they're in the drama series, right? They're coming in with this drama, that fire. If they're a water sign, they're coming in with the, you made me feel, check your placements. If you're always about, what about how I feel? What about how, check your water placements. You might have a lot of water placements in there, a lot of the feelings. Then if it's the logic, did you think about this? Did you think about that? And the mental games and the black and white and the jumping to conclusions and the maximizing, the minimizing, the mental, those would be the air signs. Check your placement to see if you have Libra in there. Mercury in Libra, Mercury in Gemini, Mercury in any of the air signs. Aquarius, they like to play mental gymnastics with you. Same thing with in the Jupiter, in your Jupiter. That's your philosophy. God help them in the courtroom if it's like that, because they play the role of the persecutor. They're here to get you. You've done something wrong. You should have done this. You broke a rule. You should have known better. And if you had have given me a hug and you'd given me a kiss, if you had given me attention, then I wouldn't have had to go cheat. This is your fault. So they victimize themselves. Same card, Angel of Challenge. They make a challenge. They make a problem. Hence, a drama series. Why do you think writers can have a drama series? Because you have to have this paradigm. Writers go to school for writing. What do you think they're learning in the writing class? They're learning about character development. They're learning about roles. This is one of them. We as humans do this. It's a social theory. It's not even a theory. It's proven at this point. So Once the persecutor stops persecuting and just sets boundaries, they know what their needs and their wants, and they're able to communicate them in a healthy way. The coach is able to coach them out of it. No one's rescuing anybody. The coach says, what did you learn? What can you get from this? What can I do? And if you have a good coach doesn't say, get your F you, B, I can't believe you, I'm leaving, this is wrong. A good coach wouldn't do that. A good coach would say, all right, I hear you. You feel sad. You feel frustrated. That makes sense. You haven't eaten. You're tired. You're about to go to work. What can you do about the situation right now? How can we fix this right now? What words can help? So then when you start coaching yourself out of this victim mentality, then you get out of the drama series. And now you're in what we call the hero's journey. Alright, I'm gonna wrap this up because it's like how many videos? We have the angel of love that popped out right when I said that. So maybe, you love this person very, it's a lot of love here. Every time I do you guys reading, there's so much love on the board. There's a need for you to tidy up and clean up your space. And start manifesting what you want. Maybe you're writing things down. Do the 369 method. Write things like, I choose courage. Really, the first thing I saw was I choose courage. Maybe there's a need for you to choose courage. My voice matters. I am love. Abundance finds me. Do 369 method with all of those. What's the worst that can happen? You actually get those things. You actually manifest being a messy person. All right, what's the worst that can happen? You get in your bag? That's the worst that can happen. Whoever this is, I feel like I'm the pastor leading you. That's why I feel so tired. Like, come to the altar and give your life to Christ. That's what it feels like. Right. Just be who don't care what anybody think. Whoever this is, you gotta stop caring what people think. Right now, I look tired. I feel tired. I don't feel beautiful. I don't look beautiful. I don't think I look beautiful. Even if you say in a comment, I look beautiful, I don't feel it right now. Maybe somebody will say, she actually does look beautiful. Maybe somebody will say she does. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. You have to have that I don't care attitude. I think you have it in the wrong way, though. You have it, Spirit, which way? Right, ascension, tension. How can they fix this? How can they lean more into individuality? Damn. Hiding. Stop hiding. You're like hiding your true feelings. So just be vulnerable and just say what you got to say. And again, and assertive with love. If what you're saying, if you wouldn't talk, however you talk to yourself on the inside, you will talk to other people like that. So if you wouldn't talk to someone else like that, then you shouldn't talk to yourself like that. If you call yourself stupid, bitch, lame, dumb, fat, whatever, if you say it to yourself, if you're doing this drama triangle with yourself, which more than likely you are. So for example, people with ADHD, they know there shouldn't be doom scrolling. They should have done something else. Hence the should work, right? The prosecutor, I should have washed clothes. I should have eaten this. I should have done that. Then the victim comes out. Then your inner child pops out, right? Because you should have done that. And so the child goes, I should have done it. So the inside of you does that. You feel guilt and you feel shame immediately. As soon as that happens, you feel shame, you feel guilt, you feel like you should have done something. You should have made it, to make that work. And because you didn't, the coach should come out. But the coach doesn't come out. The rescuer comes out. But the rescuer comes out in this very negative way. It comes out in this very enabling way, right? Enabling the victim, instead of coaching the victim. So, for example, you were tired, so just don't worry about it. You can do it tomorrow. A good coach would not say that. A good coach wouldn't say, well, you don't got to apologize. You'll be all right. A good coach will say, take your, for dear, apologize to your teammate. This is a team effort. This is not how we do the team. And that's, God is saying the same thing. We are all teammates as a collective. If you're treating your teammate like shit, it's going to be a problem. And we're all teammates down here. You cannot call yourself a follower. You cannot say, I believe in the higher power. I believe in God. And you cannot say to yourself, if you're a follower of Yeshua, for those of you who are, you cannot say that and say that he wants you to harm and hurt people and move on with your life. Not apologize. Hide your schemes. Hide what you've done. Flow. Don't be overindulgent. Maybe some of you got someone pregnant. Maybe someone's overindulgent. Someone got pregnant. Someone's having a baby. Someone's thinking about having a baby. Maybe someone's just overindulging in food. Yeah, good. Start rebuilding this wall because the great crumbles happen. I see you getting up out of your bed. Like, yeah. Start cleaning up and moving things around. Maybe you start to do that now. Spirit says make a wish. You could have made a wish before, but make a wish. And before you make a wish, before you ask for something next time, you're getting chastised. Before you ask for something next time, Spirit says study. And there's a need to know your history. Whoever you are, there's a need in particular to know Black history. So maybe you don't know much about your people for real like that. That's like maybe you don't really understand. Maybe you haven't read the Geechee Wars. Maybe you don't know about the Haitian Revolution in Haiti. Maybe you don't know about the sex farms that they had in the United States. Maybe you don't know about the different stories. Maybe you never been to different plantations throughout the United States. Maybe you don't know the history of the indigenous people. Maybe there's a bit of studying that. And also I see that you're trying to manifest something fast with a lot of momentum. This, I don't know if I'm going to put this in shorts. I'm going to do a whole video. I don't know. Stop filtering. What you're doing is you're ignoring the positives. When you're mental filtering, it's like when you just focus on all the brain, the hippocampus dumps all of the good memories and makes you focus on all the bad. There's a podcast, if you go look it up, it's called Brain on Revenge. It's an Oprah podcast. Just type it into YouTube on here. Your brain on revenge. Your brain can actually be addicted to revenge. So when someone, whether it's a real slight or a perceived slight, a real or imagined perceived slight from another person, it can make the person get into this revenge thing, right? They always do this. No one ever, everyone always, and start doing this overgeneralizing. So when you remove these words from your vocabulary, the pain stops. Stop saying everyone. Stop saying nobody. Stop saying always. Stop it. These are spell words. You're doing this to yourself. You heard it from a licensed professional counselor. This hurts you. Never, always, no one, unless it's actually true. Do not use these all-inclusive words. They hurt you mentally, and they also lead to isms, classism, sexism, fisms, because it's a single piece of evidence, and we're making these broad conclusions from that. This is not good, because if you start moving with broad conclusions, with a single piece of evidence, you end up looking very foolish. And I'm sure whoever this reading this is, you have been feeling foolish. Rise and grind. Nothing but the truth. Spirit says you don't have anything to say. You were acting out against a goddess. She's the one. Or somebody was acting out against a goddess. Okay. Peace and blessings, love and light. Have a good night. Bye.